Also with us is Dutch Merrick, once again, a prop master for film and television. He's currently working on the HBO series Euphoria. HBO is owned by Warner Media, the same parent company as CNN. Dutch, Hudson, this actor, says that he felt pieces of blanks hitting his body and his face. He felt the heavy thud of air from the shotgun blanks hitting his chest. And he describes the way, at least he said he felt, it felt life-threatening. It felt too surreal. What's your reaction to how this actor is describing the situation on set? What does that mean to you?
Well, what we do when we block a scene, again, it's the armorer's responsibility to block out a scene very carefully, and that entails where does the actor stand, where they're looking, where they're pointing the gun, where is the camera. We really look at all the elements in the room. And it's entirely common for us to pad the camera because obviously it's an expensive piece of equipment, so we're overly cautious in every direction, including for the equipment. So often you'll find a camera wrapped in a furniture pad and some plexiglass shielding in front to protect it from potential damage. Now that the actor was between the camera and the gunfire, that raises my eyebrow. I don't know exactly what the physical blocking was, but my sense is that maybe he was standing in the wrong spot. Maybe they had not blocked it out entirely properly when they were firing.
Because Dutch, should he be? I mean, obviously, I'm not an actor and have not been in one of these films that includes, you know, blanks or anything. Should he be feeling the air, the thud of blanks on him? Feel that on his face?
Well, keep in mind, you know, any pyrotechnics or a gun going off is a small explosion, so it creates a pressure change. There's a pressure change in the room. So when we're in a room and we're doing gunfire, everybody in the room feels it. You feel a blast. And if you're downrange of the muzzle of a gun, anybody in that general direction, you feel it. So yeah, if you're nervous and there's gunfire happening and you're in a scene and you feel that, I'm sure it would feel even more noticeable. Oh, this is jarring. So that's not unusual to feel that sort of pressure blast. And the peppering, if there's unburned powders hitting him, then he may be a little too close to the gun in that blocking, it sounds like.
Yeah, the more we learn, the more questions there are. It feels like every time we speak. You know, Paul, what sticks out to you from this interview with Ian A. Hudson?
You know, the interesting thing is that virtually all of the interviews we've seen up until this point in time suggest that there was a certain amount of sloppiness with respect to safety issues on the set. There were problems. I think there was a union dispute going on about some of the workers non-union workers who were on the set. So this is more of what we've heard before. But Kate, in the end, when a prosecutor is looking at this, we're looking at specific things, and that is, was it criminally reckless to have handled safety on this set in that manner? And that depends upon the specifics, which I think maybe we'll hear a little more about at noontime today. What did Alec Baldwin know about the weapon when it was handed to him? He fired the fatal shot. What was the chain of command on passing that weapon from what we call the armorer to the actor on set, who was Alec Baldwin? All of those things will be carefully looked at by a prosecutor to see if something happened that rose to the level of criminal recklessness, and that can lead to a murder or a manslaughter charge if the answer is yes, the evidence is there.
Does it surprise you, Paul, that the DA says that, you know, criminal charges are on the table? They're not off the table at this point.
Well, it's always surprising when there's a criminal investigation of something going on a movie set. I mean, they're supposed to be making a movie, not committing crimes. And frankly, it's shocking that someone could have been killed in making a movie like this. You would think that there would be extraordinary care devoted to how firearms were handled on any movie set. So, you know, I think it's a shocking thing for anybody to see, you know, a movie production company being looked at in terms of criminal conduct.
Real quick, Dutch, this press conference is going to be the first time we're going to hear from the sheriff. Is there something that you're kind of leaning in to learn more about, one specific thing or a question you really want answered?
Well, I think literally the smoking gun, pardon the pun, but it's the truth, is where that bullet came from. Was it left over from plinking? Was it a prank? How, in God's name, did a real live round get into a gun that was handed to an actor. Also, actor Hudson, when I read the article in TMZ, he said that the first AD had regularly been handing the gun to Alec Baldwin. At least that's the way I read it. So that's not normal procedure. The first AD should be out of that chain of command, that chain of custody. The gun goes from the armorer to the actor, and that's it. If the first AD wants to look at it, please do, but it only goes from the armorer to the actor before a scene. So that, I want to know if that was the case.
Dutch, thank you very much for coming on again. Paul, thank you as always. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.